Welcome to Source Not Found, a show about the worst versions of your favorite things. Every other week, we explore an IP, franchise, or fandom by way of its sequels, spin-offs, and side projects. Basically anything but the source material. I'm Brendan June, and the time has come. Execute episode 66.
You're an absolute bastard. That's what I was going to do.
Oh, God damn it. Really?
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I don't have to do it.
You do it anyway, and whoever had the better Palpatine, it probably won't be me.
No. What's funny is I
in.
wasn't going to do it until we started recording and we said that this was episode 66. Then I was like, holy shit, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah.
It's great. Anyway, my name is Bo Woodall, and some people think I'm soft, wishy-washy, an over-intellectual bleeding heart. Just describing a Jedi as that makes me very, very happy. So,
speaking of Jedi,
it's that wonderful
Still
time
May.
of the year. We're in May, and we are talking Jedi, Star Wars. We are talking about the 2002 novel Traitor, part of the New Jedi Order pre-Disney takeover of Star Wars, by Matthew Stover. Brandon, I have to ask, did you read any of the now, I think they're called Legends stories?
I did growing up. Nothing too extensive, and it was very like scattershot, like going into a bookstore as a kid and just like, oh, here's like the Solo twins, like a young adult something. That looks cool. Take that home, read that. But it was all over the place. So like jumping into this one, I had some familiarity of like the players and some of the events leading up to Traitor here, but wow. I realized like how little I knew once I jumped in.
Yeah. See, what's really funny is I read a lot of them, especially like the Young Jedi Order, the Young Jedi Academy series with the Solo twins and their little brother and Lobaka and that whole crew, most of which are mentioned in this novel. Mara Jade, the courtship of Princess Leia, that book, like the X-Wing series, Rogue Squadron, all that stuff. Yeah, loved all of that. But man alive, I forgot just how dark this series could fucking get. Woof.
Yeah. Well, imagine what it's like for me who, like on the first 2 pages. Hey, by the way, Chewbacca's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, spoilers. Did you know? Oh, by the way, Jason has a little brother named Anakin. I had never met him. Oh, by the way, he's fucking dead.
Yeah. Next level dead.
Everyone's dead.
When you open this
welcome to the book.
Okay. It reminds me of, did you ever read Moby Dick?
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm comparing Moby Dick to a Star Wars Legends book.
I'm hanging with you. Let's go.
When you open Moby Dick, the first chapter, the first section of the book is called Loomings. And your first thought is, you have no idea, Herman. You don't. Melville, you and I, this is Looming, my guy. You open the book and the first chapter is called The Embrace of Pain. And then it's like, these are all the people that have died. We're starting with 35 pages of just abject torture. And it's like,
there is that one chapter early in Moby Dick where they just kind of like, it's just a sermon. Like they wander into the church service. I don't know. You could say that we kind of have that here with like some of the, is it the Yuuzhan Vong? I don't know how to actually pronounce this.
I actually don't know how to pronounce it either, but I have a question about that for you a little bit later.
This will be an interesting episode then. We'll just try them all out, and then at some point, every fan who might accidentally listen to our show, they'll have one moment of just like relief when they hear it correctly, and then probably 45 minutes of rage.
Right.
But yeah, he hears lots of like diatribes from like the religious in this book. So is this book the Moby Dick of Star Wars?
Hell no. No, I actually like this book.
No,
I actually like this book.
I liked it too. Okay.
Holy shit! No! I get to cheer now, because I brought this book to play, and I rarely get a Brandon June stamp of approval. This feels. I'm almost aroused. Like I feel great right now.
Here, I was gonna save this. I feel like this is something you say at the end, but we're here, so maybe just say it.
Yeah, sure.
The Force is about to be fully
awakened.
Yeah, sure. That Skywalker is about to rise.
Yeah.
This is a show about sourcing things.
Yeah.
And originally the idea, I feel like we don't do it that often because usually one of us, if not both of us, has had some experience with the thing.
Sure.
But one of the ideas is like, if you've never had any interaction with this franchise, this IP, and you go into this one thing, this one sequel, spinoff, or side project, on the strength of that, could you see yourself sourcing the main thing? So, yes, I have seen Star Wars, and I've played Star Wars, and I've engaged with a lot of Star Wars things. But I haven't really read like the lineage of books leading up to this and beyond, right?
Right.
I want to fucking read those books now.
Yeah.
Like, I want to source the shit out of Jason's journey.
I completely forgot there was a sequel to this book that I have to find.
I want to keep going. Yeah. And I am like at the nadir of Star Wars interest, like in recent years. Ever since like Rise of Skywalker, like I've barely engaged with it at all. And I don't know if it's just like I've been doing a KOTOR playthrough recently. And I don't know, we watched those pilots and, you know, I found a lot to like in the Clone Wars, and I read this and I think I'm kind of back. I'm kind of back to Star Wars.
There's a lot of shit to love about the Legends, like the non-canon Star Wars stuff. There's so much to fall for. The X-Wing series by itself fucking got me through 8th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like this shit slaps. So before we get into like direct thoughts, a quick synopsis of this book, because it is a very, very quick synopsis. This book is entirely about Jason Solo. Entirely.
And almost entirely about his torture.
Yeah. He has been captured by basically
the Yuuzhan Vong.
I think I actually have something really good here. Along with the death of his brother, it was a massive Vong hit.
I can't believe I just stepped on that. I'm so sorry.
I was pretty proud of it, actually. But he has been captured by the Yuuzhan Vong and betrayed entirely by someone who was either like a friend, like she had saved Mara Jade's life in the past, like they thought she was on their side, and she basically gave Jason up to the Vong. And this entire book is the opposite of what he goes through in like the Young Jedi Academy series. This makes him question everything about the Force, about what it is to be a Jedi, about what is good, what is evil. Like, it's very, very fascinating to me.
Yeah. And I started off by saying that this book, because of the strength of the storytelling, the writing, like I really thought it was quite good. And it presents some cool ideas about the Force and just like the characters and their journeys. All that to say, do not start with this book.
No,
do not. This
not.
is not an entry point.
No, it is not. Not even a little
like
bit.
We start off and it's just like, oh my God, Roger has betrayed me. It's like, who's that? And then like there's a really, I forgot
she was a character.
The end. She was fucking awesome. Like, it's a good introduction to her, this book. But like, I think that probably would have hit more if I had seen what like she meant to everybody up until this point.
Yeah.
And seen the turn.
Yeah, 100%.
There's also like a big kind of grand sacrificial, like, it's GANNER at the end of the book, right?
Yeah.
He holds the line for Jason. It's like, I've never met this man.
I think he was in the Young Jedi Academy series, And
I mean, maybe I met him when I don't remember him, though.
But like I can recall him being kind of a douchebag.
He was kind of, okay, like, I don't want to jump to the end, but like his final moment of just like holding off, like he deploys his lightsaber and Jason's escaping and like he's got all these enemy forces coming in. They're like, you are only one man. I am only one Jedi. Like,
yeah.
Okay. But the cameras are not on. They're not in the room. Everyone's gone. You're here by yourself.
This is
like,
just him fucking. Okay. So my little intro quote is what Ganner thought of Jason, right? When they were in school together. But what Jason thought of Ganner, which is also, it was almost the quote that I used. I never liked you either. Ganner looked up to find Jason answering his grin with a gentle, knowing smile. I thought you were nothing but a grandstander, a play-acting glory hunter, more concerned with looking good than doing good. Ganner laughed out loud. You were right. And like, that's just good shit.
Yeah. I guess I brought up that scene. A lot of the writing in this book is very good.
Yeah.
Some good dialogue, some good lines, like some quotable, memorable stuff. In that scene, where Ganner is holding the line, he spun his shining blade in a dazzlingly complex flourish that illuminated the arch around him, making it shine like a rainbow frame for the pure animal grace of his body. This threshold, he announced through a happy grin, is mine. I claim it for my own. Bring on your thousands, one at a time or all in a rush. I don't give a damn. His flourish ended with the blade slanted before his chest, and his teeth flashed in the gloom. None shall pass. But you can't, Mr. Stover, you can't just fucking say none shall pass. Like, you can't just do that. Sorry, Gandalf, like anything you can't pass, this narrow walkway out here, I'm sorry.
I 100% agree with you, but I also remember there are a few segments that go into that, like when he's lost that version of himself in the combat, and it's like he's not even aware of himself, nor of the Yuzon Vong. He has become the warriors he fights, slaying himself with each who falls. There is no longer any such thing as a Ganner Rhysode. There are no more Yuzon Vong, no more Jedi. There are only the dancers and the dance. And the dance is all there is. From the whirl of quarks to wheel of galaxies, all is motion, all is dance, all is. Like, the idea that this play-acting, grandstanding Jedi no longer is he's no longer a Jedi. He's the Force. That's it. Like, he is a representative of the Force. He is what every Jedi longs to kind of become, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's reached Jedi Nirvana, if that's such a thing. And he is just, he is a part of a much larger tapestry.
And it is a great send-off because, again, I didn't know this character, but just this book does a good job of like giving you what you need to know about everyone involved. Like, I did not finish the novel being confused about who anybody was or what their motivations were. I did feel the lack of experience.
Context.
Like, I felt like some things, there was some lack of context there were just like, I understood on a logical level, but like there wasn't the emotional impact that there would have been if I had been on a journey with these characters over multiple books.
Sure.
But the idea of this glory hunting Jedi who just always wanted to appear, he was most important about appearing to those and being perceived by those around him as a great warrior, more so than just like actually going out and doing great things, right? He was most concerned about his reputation and his image. And you have this moment where there is no one around to observe what he's done, but he finds within himself that warrior that he always sought, that glory that he was always hunting, and he does it for the sake of doing the thing, even though no one will be around to tell his story. Like, there are no allies around to witness this. And so he does kind of like become one with the Force in that moment. Like, he finally ascends past this sort of like ego-driven personal journey for glory. But he is then kind of rewarded for that afterward, because like we are told that in the years to come, like the Yuuzhan Vong will tell the tale of like
the GANNER.
Like this
larger than life, terrifying boogeyman.
Yeah. And so in a way, he like his glory will live on in some form, just not in the way that he kind of intended or sought. It was a good send off.
Yeah.
It was like the one scene in the book where like, all right, it's like maybe a little silly.
Yeah. It was
a little much.
It was very to me, it kind of felt like what Matthew Stover was doing here was everything that I have done with Jason Solo so far, I'm going to do to Ganner Rise Old in less than 50 pages.
Yeah. We don't get much time with him.
But I think it's also a very important moment for Jason Solo as well, because he has to leave someone behind. He has to make a choice at that moment, and it is assumedly the right one.
We don't get much time with him, or really a lot of characters. Most of what we're doing in this book, especially the first like third of it, is really just we are watching Jason's transformation, like his torture and his isolation and his confusion. And I think within that, we get some really interesting ruminations on the Force.
Yeah.
And some ideas presented. But the first thing about this book that I really liked, going in, again, with just zero context, you have this character who has been cut off from the Force.
Yeah.
Like, he is held in torture. Like, and his torture is fucking brutal.
It is. It's written so well because it doesn't feel like gory necessarily. You know, this isn't a horror book, but it's still horrific what he's going through. Like this isn't like a Saw, Terrifier, torture porn sort of thing. This is Star Wars telling you that they are putting a character through quite possibly the worst thing that we have seen a character get put through in Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, it is painful to read about. The embrace of pain, right? That's what he's held in. And it has crackled so hot for so long that his overloaded nerves and brain have been scorched too numb to feel it. The embrace of pain lowers him entirely to the floor, where he can sleep for a time, while other devices or creatures, since he cannot tell the difference anymore, since he is no longer sure that there is any difference, bathe him and tend wounds scraped or torn or slashed into his flesh by the embrace's grip. And still more creature devices crawl over him like spider roaches, injecting him with nutrients and enough water to maintain his life. But mostly he sits or lies waiting, naked, blood seeping from his wrists and ankles. More than naked, utterly hairless. The living machines that tend to his body also pluck out his hairs, all of them, head, arms, legs, pubis, armpits, eyebrows, eyelashes. Little details like that. I feel like sometimes when you have, I don't know, like magical based, or just like you have a character going through something very painful, but it's like, I don't know, a force power or something energy based, you kind of lose sight of like the physicality of the thing. Like pain becomes more of an abstract concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here, like there is like corporeal like damage. Like he is lacerated, he is bleeding, he is raw, his skin is
of machines regularly yanking out his eyelashes.
Goddamn. Like that's the one detail that sticks with me.
That really
got me.
Trying
to think about the torture. Yeah. Being held in stasis, you can't move yourself out of this agonizing position, and you have this little fucking spider bot come by and just pluck out the beginnings of your latest eyelash. Oh my God.
It's really, really rough.
But the book starts you there. Again, it's very disorienting. coming in as a new reader, you have this like Vergere, this very enigmatic character, and it just every time you look into her eyes,
even
just like
Jason says
pits.
This is the first creature he's encountered in all of the worlds that he's gone to, and all of the types of creatures he's encountered through his long life of being a solo. Like, he's like, at this point, the imperial family of the Republic. Vergere is the first creature he's met that feels entirely alien.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a thing.
And just the constant fuckery of like, everything I tell you is a lie. You don't know, like, as a reader, I have no idea what to think about, like, why these things are being done to him and like how much to trust of what she's saying. But like starting there and staying with Jason as he's cut off from the Force. He's very confused. He doesn't know who to trust. And we don't really go elsewhere. We don't pivot over to any other peripheral characters for a long time. It's a long time until we have any scenes really outside of Jason in that space. And you feel cut off with him.
Mm-hmm,
like
absolutely.
You can sort of, as a reader, feel the alienation.
Well, I mean,
and I thought that part of it, the structure was very well done.
When you open this book, and this happened with a lot of the Legends Star Wars books, and even the Star Wars books before that, there was always like a dramatis personae, like a list of characters or anything named basically that you'll encounter in the book that you can have an idea if your favorite character is in there someplace or something like that. This book lists 6 names. 6.
Yeah.
6 names. Like, that's buck wild. I've seen lists in some of these books. Like, if you look at an X-Wing book or like a Rogue Squadron book or something like that, you're looking at 2 full pages of names. You open this and it's fucking bleak.
Yeah. No, Jason carries this shit. Like, if this were filmed, you would have Leo DiCaprio be Jason, and it would be the film that would finally get him the Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just kind of like hanging with him as he just gets wrecked by the bear, and just like crawls around in agony.
So, I have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
The first one, how do you feel about Vergere's idea that there is no light side or dark side of the Force?
Some of these ideas are why I enjoyed this book so much.
Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you.
And maybe it's because like I've been playing KOTOR recently, and like that's one where like, oh yeah, if like I got dark side points in that game because I killed slavers on Kashyyyk, right?
Right.
And I don't know, just like this idea of it's not so much morality as it is like the lack of the use of or lack of control over your passion and your emotions, and like thinking about the spectrum in a different way. Like as a kid, you engage with Star Wars and like, oh, it's good and bad. It's good and evil, and there are depths beyond that, and like gradations within that are very interesting to explore. And then, yeah, I love the idea in this book of just like all of these entire societies and civilizations being outside of the Force completely.
Yeah.
Like it has no power here. Like the Yuuzhan Vong, they have their own shit that they're thinking about. And like having characters cut off from it, they can't access it even, let alone like wonder where they fall within its spectrum.
But it is interesting that the Force still affects certain things in there. Like there's a Force below the Force sort of thing. Like Vergere mentions the fact that like, no, it's not that the Force doesn't affect us. If the Force is in everything, it's still in the Vong. It's just like a wavelength of the Force you don't see.
Yeah, right.
Right? So like Jason becomes able to communicate with Vong wildlife and flora and like basically becomes a Vong warrior effect, like more than that. He becomes a terror. He also loses his shit a couple of times.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
But it was cool. It was like this idea of, I mean, like for like a real world analog, like kind of like almost like different religious practices getting at like some fundamental idea.
Yeah.
Like some ultimate reality beyond all of like the dogma and like specifics. And like you can access some of these like insights or this like experience of eternity through multiple pathways. It's there, but like your individual perception of it and your experience in accessing it and thinking about it can vary greatly, almost to where it feels like a different force entirely, right? But there is something fundamental underpinning it all.
Right.
It was cool. I just loved being left in the unknown for like most of this book. Like till like pretty late in the book, I had no idea what Vergere wanted, honestly. Like what the ultimate play was, like how much she was double dealing, how much what she was telling Jason was true, like how often she wanted the best for him. Like it seemed overall like she was guiding him towards something, because we start with that story about the shadow moth, right? And she talks about how she came upon this little shadow moth creature and it was struggling to break from its cocoon. So she cut open the cocoon and cursed it to a life of being like almost like immobile, like it can't fly, because evolutionarily, like the shadow moth is kind of like designed, or it has like evolved to, in the struggle to break out of its cocoon, its shell, like it kind of like forces what, like blood or just like
the capillaries to like
expand in its appendages, and then it gains the ability to fly. And if you are to cut it out of its cocoon and you think that you're helping this creature, you see it struggling, you have damned it to a life of being bound to the ground, and because it didn't go through that struggle.
And it doesn't get to fulfill its one purpose, which is to sing among the moonlight, I think.
Yeah. And so you start with that idea and like, oh yeah, Jason is in his cocoon of pain, in the embrace of pain. Like he's going through the struggle so that he can ascend to something greater. But then she says everything she says is a lie. Like, I don't know. Is this just torture? Is this like a Reek situation in Game of Thrones where you let him out for a little while to make him feel like he's going to escape, just so you can bring him back in to the torture so that it hits all the harder because you had this moment of belief that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, only to realize the tunnel extends for eternity? I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I was constantly kind of wondering like where we were going and to what purpose, to what ends this was all for. And that was cool. It kept me reading. It kept me guessing for much of the book.
Do you have any theories? Like, do you know how Jason Solo ends up?
Beyond this book?
Yeah.
No, I have no idea.
Okay, good.
My last experience of Jason Solo was probably like one of the young adult, like him. I think the last time I checked in with him as a kid, like he was at the Jedi Academy.
Right. Yeah.
Still. So I had not seen him as an adult. I had not seen him, at any point, like on his own personal journey. That's why, like I mentioned at the outset, I had some familiarity with like the players and some of the ideas. It wasn't like I was totally being thrown into the deep end, but like I don't really know what these people have been doing. Like I kind of know their family lineage and like their connection to a few other like well-known Star Wars characters. Beyond that, like very little.
Cool. Good.
Yeah.
Then I know things not to say.
Yeah. Please, like, I spoiled myself on. I don't remember. I did look, but I forget. Like how many books. I mean, many, really, if you sum them all up. But just like specific, like the books leading to this moment, to Traitor.
Yeah.
Like if you were just sort of like to mainline it.
It's a bunch.
I spoiled myself on those, I guess. Yeah, there are a lot. But maybe I can save myself from the future spoilers.
Yeah.
Because I would like to read these.
I know how, like, I know his plot arc, but I don't know the details of how he gets to where he gets. So I'm also going to be going back and like picking up some of these, like this is damn near the end of non-Disney Star Wars is the Vong. I think. again, I think Traitor was the last Star Wars book that I read.
Okay.
The fact that I didn't like find the sequel is buck wild to me, because I was chomping at the bit, ready to go after finishing this up. Okay. Next question. How do you picture the Yuzon Vong?
You're not gonna like my answer.
I may.
Because it's not actually based on their descriptions. Like, it's not accurate.
Okay. I'm even
when I
more
first
excited.
read Yuzon Vong, the word Vong made me think of Vogons from Hitchhiker's Guide, and so for the rest of the book,
no.
Even though it's not correct, I kind of still picture Vogons in my brain to a certain extent.
Either my brain never made that connection, or I had so much.
It's not the same word.
Like, I had so much prior experience like with them as a villain that it made them feel so much more like capable of violence to me.
Yeah, no, like in the Embrace of Pain, like I just assumed they were all reading their poetry.
Nice
to Jason.
I mean, yeah, that's a serious Embrace of Pain. I always pictured them, and this is with the description, which I'll read in a second, but it's also just like a little something that I added to it, like opalescent, almost like oil slick, I think is a better descriptor.
Okay, yeah. I like that.
And some mixture of Pava Laguna from The Fifth Element and a xenomorph.
I like what I'm hearing.
Like, that's kind of where they lived for me. Like, I assumed they were like slightly chitinous, almost insectoid, and with vegetative accuracy, the Villip conveyed the physical features of the War Master. His tall, narrow skull, bulging brain case, dangerously sharp teeth bristling within his lipless gash of a mouth, as well as the proud array of scars that defined his devotion to the true way. There's something about, like, between the lipless gash of a mouth, sharp teeth, and, like, tall skull, like, bulging brain case that just screams xenomorph to me.
Yeah, I can see that. When I did think about, like, their teeth in particular, like these needle-like teeth in the maw.
But they also, like, there's so many different, like, it's like a caste system almost, where there's like shapers and war masters and stuff like that.
True. Yeah.
So I assumed like some of them are more delicate and like willowy, and others are built like brick shit houses.
Yeah, it did seem that way.
But yeah, that's where I always went with it. Was like this kind of glistening, chitinous, opalescent or oil slick, where they like almost that. As if they would disappear if the background was just the night sky. Like you would not be able to see them coming.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just like,
that is a cool idea, and especially like would metaphorically sort of represent kind of where they exist in the universe.
The absence of the Force.
Especially in this story where they just sort of like reflect back, like they are this sort of enigma. Vergere, I mean, is not one of them, but just like from Jason's perspective, like they're all just sort of like, he's confused about where he is and why he's there, and everyone's motivations, and like feeling the absence and the connection to anything that he's known. And he's just sort of having his anxieties like reflected back at him.
Yeah.
In this like ever changing sort of surrounding, kind of like an oil slick would be, just like refracting back this light and morphing and kind of amorphous around him, and you can't really grasp anything there.
Well, there's also something that it struck me specifically in this book. And I think it struck me specifically this time that I read it, because I haven't read this book since probably 2003. Like it's been a bit.
Yeah.
But they do straight up like Vongification. I don't know what you would call it. Like terraforming almost.
The terraforming scene is like horrifying.
The fact that they do it to Coruscant, no less. Like the capital planet of the Republic, the Empire before that. I mean, the main Jedi Temple was there for years. Like, we spent a lot of time there, like as Star Wars fans, and they turn it into a copy of the Vong home world, and unfortunately, it's fucking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the reasons I see them as oil slick or opalescent, is like in the right light, you're almost like, holy shit, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Kind of like a venomous insect. Like, I know I shouldn't touch that. But man alive, it's very, very pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even like Jason's journey through this is like being presented with, I don't know, they have like sort of philosophical banter a lot. I mean, this is with Vergere, but just like kind of communicating the Vong perspective to a certain degree, just like a different way of looking at the universe and engaging with the life forms around you, and calling out Jedi on their hypocrisy, you know, or just like, if you are dogmatically aligned to this philosophy of the Jedi, what do you say to this, right?
Right. Which I loved.
Like the one, yeah. And to be sort of like enamored with that, and like you saying, like you see the beauty, the pretty shiny colors in the oil slick, right?
Right.
Are you being deceived by that, or is that actually something of value to pursue? Yeah. It was also cool just to like go to Coruscant and like run through these like almost like post-apocalyptic areas, right?
Yeah.
These familiar locations. And one of my favorite scenes in the book is when he's there and he gets consumed by the creature. What do you remember the name of the creature?
I don't.
He ends up in the belly of this thing.
I honestly don't know if he ever mentions what it's called, because he talks about it, him being in the throat, and he calls it a cavern beast.
Cavern beast. I think that's what I was trying to remember. Yeah. It's cool because like he sees an image of Anakin, right? And he runs after it. And then he just suddenly he's inside this thing, you know? And then like he gets pulled down to its stomach area, and then he hears someone screaming for help, and like, oh, is this another? Again, this book is constantly just like making you question your faculties, like what is real and what is an illusion. And we have this moment like, is this another illusion created by the creature to lure him down into the like areas where he can be consumed fully and digested by the stomach? Like, is it playing tricks on him within itself? Or is there actually someone else down here with him? And then to find out like, oh, there's a whole fucking society down here.
Yeah.
Like they're living here.
And it's dark and messed up.
It's fucked. Like they're living off of like, this creature has evolved to consume more than it needs at a time, and then it allows these other life forms, this future food, to just sort of like live down in its stomach, and it secretes nutrients, like a nutrient drip for those things to live off of.
Yeah.
And then like if it's ever just like lacking for prey, then it can just like pop one of those things and like move it into its other stomach and consume it. Like that's horrifying. And these people are kind of opting in to stay in there because it's safe. They have their safe little womb, and just anytime someone new comes in, like they're the first to get thrown down into the
chute,
into the depths.
Yeah,
down the chute. Yeah, that was awesome.
It was yeah. There's something about this book that does something that Star Wars rarely ever does. And it makes you more like the fact that Anakin's Kyber crystal is a Vong, like living crystal, is something that Jason comments on several times throughout the thing. Like holding Anakin's lightsaber, he feels the absence of the crystal in there. And going through all of this, there's just constant thought of where does the new Jedi Order, where does Jason Solo specifically fit into a world absent of everything he has come to believe? And that is damaging and heartbreaking. And I have to wonder if that doesn't break him a little bit. Like, it breaks him through this story, obviously. Like, old boy succumbs to the dark side, what, twice real hard?
Yeah.
And not just succumbs to the dark side, he goes full murder hobo. Like, he is unstoppable. He is doing things that no other Jedi has done to the Yuuzhan Vong. He is absolutely wrecking their shop.
I love the scene on Coruscant when he attacks Vergere to that point.
Yeah.
And the Vong around him. And we're told, like, he's seeking this, like, Jedi temple, right? It's like, oh, this was built on, like, a place that's really resonant with dark side forces.
Right.
Like, you need to be careful in here. You can easily succumb to this. And he almost kills Vergere.
Yeah.
Like, he just totally loses control. And then we find out, like, he's asked, like, why do you think the Jedi would build their temple on a place, like, so resonant with dark side energies? The answer is they wouldn't.
Right.
That was not a true story. She says, what you feel is the Force. Slowly, painfully, she lifted herself onto her elbows, and she met his blankly astonished stare. This is the shameful secret of the Jedi. There is no dark side. Light and dark are no more than nomenclature, words that describe how little we understand. She seemed to draw strength from his weakness, slowly managing to sit up. What you call the dark side is the raw, unrestrained force itself. You call the dark side what you find when you give yourself over wholly to the Force. To be a Jedi is to control your passion, but Jedi control limits your power. Greatness, true greatness of any kind, requires the surrender of control. Passion that is guided, not walled away. Leave your limits behind.
I found this very, very interesting for two reasons. One, it makes fucking sense. Like, it makes sense. Like, something that connects every living thing, everything, not just living. It connects stones and X-Wings and, you know, everything. Of course it doesn't have a sense of good and evil, because a stone doesn't have a sense of good or evil, right?
Right. Yeah.
But it also makes you wonder, if that's the case, then what happens at the end with GANNER becoming the dance? Because he's not letting himself go to the dark side. He's not he's not foregoing all semblance of control. He's not becoming one with the passion and the rage and the anger. Instead, he's becoming part of the is. Right? So how does that fit with Vergere's story? Except for the fact that everything she says is a lie, and everything she says is the truth. So, like, how do we make her story fit with what Matt Stover is telling us what a real Jedi looks like when he becomes one with the Force?
I think that's why I found some of these ideas so compelling. I mean, it mirrors, like, in that respect, it's such a great, like, coming of age tale. like to be at a certain age and just like have a very childlike conception of like what is good and what is evil, and like morality questions, can like easily be slotted into like those two boxes. And then, I don't know, you go to like your high school courses or like early college, and like you encounter like the trolley problem for the first time or whatever, and you just realize that, oh, ethics and morality, like you can get into these like really kind of messy areas in between and kind of not really know the answer ultimately.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what do you do? And then you have all these philosophies sort of like step in and try and like give you a worldview that you can align yourself to like ease the burden of those questions. You can ascribe to this thing and that'll sort of explain it for you because you adhere to this ideology. But like he's kind of having that moment, like he's kind of left in the lurch, like just hanging in stasis outside of these forces, like left to just his own devices and trying to answer these questions on his own, you know?
I think one of the reasons I chose this book, and one of the reasons this book still sticks with me, is because as a kid, I had some of the same questions that Jason needs answered here, and he doesn't get answered. Mm-hmm. Like, why aren't Jedi allowed to love? Like, isn't love beautiful? Like, shouldn't that be part of the light side? Like, is there a difference between retribution and vengeance? Like, which one is light side, which one is dark side? Or are they both, or both neither? Like, all of these, what is justice? Like, it made no sense to me as a kid why things that I could see in like interactions with other people that I would consider positive were forbidden by the Jedi. Love and attachment being one of the main ones, obviously.
Mm. You get into these places, like I mentioned that one quest in KOTOR, right? It's like, oh, I killed the slavers. I got dark side points because I did it out of like just kind of fury and passion in the moment, right? I was not in control. I saw an injustice and I killed those responsible for it.
Right.
And that is Sith behavior. But then you look at that, like, but what did I ultimately do? I killed slavers. It's a good thing.
Well, yeah, but not just that. You said you saw an injustice and you took steps towards solving the injustice. Mm-hmm. If a Jedi executed the slavers with emotionless, like, dedication.
And that was going to be my follow-up, right? Yeah. If you do the same task, but under control, or we see in the prequels, right? The Jedi are being manipulated by other forces. What if you are the strong arm of the state or whatever it is? Like, you're being manipulated by some sinister phantom menace, right? You are coldly, dispassionately doing evil. You're not aware of it, but like if you compare those two things against one another, right? Like the passionate defense of the enslaved or the passionless, cold boot of the Republic enforcing some law, on some immiserated population somewhere.
I have a real fuck you question.
Yeah.
Or not even a question. A postulation, maybe. A theory.
Mm. Yeah.
In Revenge of the Sith, Anakin killing all the younglings was a Jedi move. He did not walk in there angry, rageful, passionate. He walked in there with detachment, and he was doing something that he felt he had to do. He became a Sith whenever he let himself into hate and let himself grieve about the death of Padme.
Yeah, which I see what you're saying.
That's
in that
fucked,
respect,
man.
you can almost say like he's
fucked.
still like swept up in the emotions of that. Like, even though he doesn't have those particular emotions towards the younglings, he's maybe in the chaos of that, like, emotional upheaval.
But I mean, like, he's carrying out what would possibly be a Jedi mission as a Jedi, because he's doing it for Sidious.
Yeah.
Like you said, he is being manipulated, and he is effectively working as a Jedi at that moment. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I can think of situations like that where, like, yeah, Jedi do shit like that, right? But they do it without emotion, and so they maintain, their adherence to the light side, and they can do some really dark shit. I don't know, with Anakin, I just feel like, at any point, does he actually get to that place where he is emotionally, like, he is emotionally unrestrained at all times, right? Like, he's given to these, like, outbursts and stuff. I do see what you're saying, but also, like, even if he doesn't have that particular fury towards, like, the younglings or whatever, like, even if he doesn't want to personally be doing these things, and he's doing it in service of his Sith Lord, I feel like he's still, like, so bound up in his own chaotic emotional upheaval.
Maybe.
That, like, I see it, like, it is kind of different than maybe what the Jedi are doing.
I keep remembering him walking into that room and all the kids looking at him, and he's just standing there. And he very calmly lights his lightsaber. And it's like, is he feeling nothing right now?
My assumption would be he's feeling, like, regret and fury and pain and confusion. And
when he's fighting Obi-Wan, and obviously we're going away from the book a little bit right now, but fuck it, it's May.
Yeah, a little bit.
When he's fighting Obi-Wan, the more angry he gets, the more he goes Sith. Like, you start to see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
Like, you start to see it changing him slowly.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, man. Like, just makes me vaguely uncomfortable. Like, it gives me a little bit of the willies, the idea that the Jedi could be allowed to commit absolute atrocities if they do it with detachment.
Right. Which goes back to that point, like, yeah, there is no dark or light. I mean, there's intent and there's, like, control over your own emotions, but ultimately, like, it kind of goes back to that when he is caring for the slaves and tending their wounds, I think it is when Vergere brings this up. The idea of, like, the gardener.
Yeah.
Where was that? Why is a question deeper than its answer? She settled back onto the mossy ground. Her crest lay flat along the curve of her skull. Tell me this, Jason Solo. What distinguishes a flower from a weed? Vergere, this is not a riddle. What distinguishes a flower from a weed is only, and exactly, this. The choice of the gardener. I'm not a gardener, Jason said, biting down on his temper. He leaned toward her, blood surging into his face. And these are not weeds, but, like, this idea of those with power manipulating and making decisions for the world around them based on what they think are the flowers and what they think are the weeds in the universe that they're trying to garden, right?
Right.
And, like, ultimately, like, yeah, how much of this can you really have, like, a universal sort of moral judgment of? Or is it just different power structures vying for control and trying to shape the universe in the way that they see fit? Like, there is obviously, like, human misery and suffering in the midst of that. But again, like, we're getting to this idea of, like, yeah, the Jedi are enacting that as well.
Yeah.
In the pursuit of some vision. And maybe it's 100%. Like Democratic Republic or something. But, right, like, you are killing something with your lightsaber. You are causing pain to a life form, ultimately. Now we're just talking about, yeah, emotional intensity of the act and the passion. But that seems like something outside of the realm of morality, right? Even the idea of, like, the final scene of GANNER, he becomes one with the Force. He loses control.
Yeah.
In a certain way of speaking, right?
Definitely.
And it's more of like this other end of the spectrum, like, you go beyond it like we're kind of talking about things that are still within like the realm of like the ego and the desires of the self, like the ego-driven self, right? And losing control to those forces, or like pushing past them and losing control, or being subsumed into something, becoming unified with something greater than that, like a collective, you know?
Right.
But in both instances, we are kind of talking about losing control of the self, and one is like more of an ascension, at least the way that is talked about by the Jedi and portrayed in this book. But yeah, we are talking about loss of individual ego.
Huh. I think the reason, and this is going to be my last thought on this, I think the reason that I'm happy I chose this book is this is one of the few genre-specific, IP-specific books I've ever read that left me with genuine philosophical questions about how their world works. Like, it was, I think it was the first time as a young adult, especially, where I read a book that made me go, oh no, fictional characters in a sci-fi universe, heroes can be made to recognize the fact that every world, fictional, non-fictional, like Edenic or post-apocalyptic abysses of horribleness, are all just shades of gray. And you have to basically, like Jason Solo does in this book, choose where in the gray you are going to reside. You have to be comfortable with your own position in the gray. Or in his case, the white of pain.
Yeah, and, you know, there has been Star Wars media that have really explored this. But if, like, I could see this being, like, the first time that you sort of are presented with that conception of, like, the Force. And, like, we I guess my point is, like, we know within our own reality that sort of, like, moral idea. But then in fiction sometimes, especially in like something like Star Wars, especially the original trilogy, where like we have this sort of like Joseph Campbell inspired, very kind of
definitely
traditional legend of just like the morality tale, good versus evil,
light side versus dark side, the good versus the evil. Yeah.
It simplifies that, and you can sort of look at that fictional thing and not bring in all of these like gray moral considerations and like philosophies into that, because like, oh no, this is a world that's sort of like simplified. And characters are like broken down to like their most important like component parts to like convey some idea that again gets back to this like hero's journey kind of thing. Like,
right.
And then you have this other media that expands upon that. They can really like add depth to it, right? And yeah, this is the kind of book that would really broaden your enjoyment of that. And like make you go back and question everything you saw in like the original trilogy and like the things that you came to take for granted, right? Like, oh, maybe this was a lot more complex than I realized at first, right? And yeah, that's why like it's worth a source to me. Like this is a book that
100%
adds depth and wonderment to the universe. Like this is the kind of stuff that keeps a franchise alive and justifies the choice to keep it alive. Like a lot of the stuff that the reason I have not engaged with Star Wars recently is because I
was going to say this does everything the sequel trilogy does not.
Yeah. It's like, why are we returning to this world? Do we have a new idea to explore here? Are we going to add wonderment and interest and beauty or horror or something to this universe and our conception of it, and leave me with questions to consider, or go back and add depth to the stories that I have already experienced in this world? Or are we doing it just because, you know, just as like another latest product in the thing? And why are the characters doing this? Well, I don't know. We just, on momentum, we thought maybe they'd end up here, but it's not really based on any desire to explore some concept or convey anything of real depth. Yeah. So ultimately, like, it's not a good jumping on point.
No.
But it's a good book.
It is a good book.
Star Wars book. And I would recommend it. It's worth a source.
I think it's worth a source as well. I'm going to a local used bookstore probably this week just so I can find, what is it called? Destiny's Way, the sequel to this one. Because I devoured this book in like less than 3 hours.
I'd like to check back in next Star Wars season.
Yeah, I would
That's
too.
Something I'm going to maybe propose. And hopefully I can go back and learn a little bit more about Ganner. Among others. Maybe too late for him. But...
Is that her name? I don't remember. Oh boy's old crush. Jason Solo had a crush, and I think her name was like Tenel Ka or something like that. But yeah, definitely a sourceable for me. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
At sourcenotfoundpod@gmail.com. All of the socials. I've kind of stopped posting as much on Facebook because it's kind of a cesspool, but I'm still a little active there every now and again. More posting on things like Instagram and Blue Sky.
We talked a lot about like the unknowns today, philosophically.
Yeah.
Here's one thing I can say for certain. That place, that's fucking dark side energy. Like that's Sith. That is a Sith cesspool.
Yeah, it's not great. So that may be one of the reasons you haven't seen quite as many posts on the Facebooks as there used to be, but I'm still...
which one of you are looking there? Yeah. Honestly, I
was going to say, whoo.
Don't go there looking.
Drop us a line. We are also on YouTube at Source Not Found Podcast, where we have a backlog of all of our episodes, along with videos of Brandon playing video games we've covered on his Twitch stream. My tongue got stuck in the back of my mouth. I don't know what it was doing. It was just fiddling around back there. What are you doing on Twitch now, Brandon? Jesus.
I don't know.
Stuff.
We're doing a lot of Star Wars. As of recording, we're in the Bub Zone. New Bubsy game.
Nice.
So I was playing some Bubsy games. No one made me. I just did that. And I'm not really sure why. Yeah, I don't know. Come on by. Twitch.tv/LegionsBug. I'm doing something. I'd love to have you.
And you can find that below in our show notes, as well as a link to the person who does our wonderful theme song, Jesse Jelena, Saint Coelacanth.
Yeah.
Check out all of his shit. He's so fucking like prodigiously prolific at this point.
Yep.
Releases nothing but bangers.
In addition to a thank you to our great musician, let's thank our patrons. Thank you so much to Frederick Weber Vorhog, 13th Horseman, Susie Daggs, Joey Bishop, and Jacob Spindell.
Friendship.
You guys are our light side. If there's a light side. The opposite of the embrace of pain. Just a good embrace. Shit. Next month, we're doing something that I've been waiting for since we basically started this project. This podcast. We are jumping into one of the biggest IPs, honestly, James Bond. And I cannot wait.
I'm very excited.
Yep.
I'm not the biggest Bond guy, but this looks cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
This game looks cool. Yeah.
But yeah. Thank you all so much for listening. Honestly, I think I'm just going to say check your toilets for a cavern beast. That's pretty good.
God damn. Sorry, I'm just stuck on that idea. That's horrifying.
No, dude, I saw your face on the screen and your eyes went into a dark place. Like,
well, cuz like he hears the call of help, like, "Oh, help, someone pull me out." I'm just like imagining that's like some Nightmare on Elm Street kind of shit. Like someone's calling out from down the drain?
Yeah, that's some next level check your toilets for Freddy Krueger. Cavern Beast
Freddy Krueger
Beast
shit.
is up there.
And then he yanks you down, and it's just a geyser of blood, like in the first film, like Johnny Depp getting pulled down in the bed. Oh my God.
First in, first out, man. First in, first out.
Watch out for that. To quote Vergere in that great philosophical exercise about the weeds and the flowers, I believe she summed it up best. Life's a garden. Dig it.